I'm sure many of you have never been to, quote, a workshop. And what does a workshop mean? It means you work. And what we've been trying to do for years and years, what Swami has been trying to do, what you all have been trying to do so successfully in the last few years is educare, bringing out from within. And that's what a workshop format is. You will break into groups of 8 to 10, and you will discuss key issues and concerns about parenting. So you have set your own agenda. What are your key issues and concerns? Each one of the groups will have a group memory keeper, and that person will take notes for the group, and we'll describe that as we go along. That does not mean that the person is the leader. He's just someone who says, okay, I'll take notes. We're all equal here. We're all Sai devotees here. We may be men and women in this physical body, but inside we're only one, right? The thing that's so amazing about this, there was a doctor at the specialty hospital. He said, I looked at that book and I sent it home to one of the grandchildren. Oh, it had such wonderful scientific knowledge in there about what doctors talk about with early child development and what it does to the brain and why it's so important for those first 5 years. And I thought, oh boy, you know, Swami's been saying that for 30 years, and all of a sudden, because it's put in your scientific terms, it's wonderful.
The lovely gentleman corrected my mold. I had mold the kind that you breathe. Maybe it's because I'm in Malaysia. Huh? I'm not a good speller. But it says parents have the primary responsibility to mold the character of their children. Can everyone see that? Everybody want to say that real loud? Parents have the primary responsibility to mold the character of their children. Throughout the day, today and tomorrow, we will say this again so that it's really ingrained within each of us. When you look back on your grandparents' lifestyle or your parents' lifestyle, before television existed, what is different now? And we're going to just have a blurt session and fill a couple of sheets of paper here on the things that you are dealing with in your everyday lives today. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about that? Huh?
So one will write one word, and don't make it big sentences.
Just one word, one or two words. Okay? For example, television, right? Huh? Computers, right.
Okay.
Start writing. Each
TV,
take turns.
computer, put TV up there.
Cell phones.
Yes. Snooker centers at the back here.
Oh. Cyber cafes.
Theme parks.
Theme parks. What about women working? Huh? Isn't that how your lives changed?
Maze. Loafing.
Loafing.
Loafing as in doing it for hanging about.
Hanging, yeah. Both working parents. Excellent.
Divorce, right?
Good.
Single parenting. What about lack of extended family? We've all migrated someplace. Before we used to live in a village, whether it was in the inner city or where it was. We had aunts and uncles around us.
Premarital sex.
Yes,
Oh, that's a
permissiveness.
good one.
Child abuse.
Good.
Child abuse, yeah.
Condominiums. Condominiums.
Condominiums.
Stay on the ground. Weekend parents.
Weekend
But
there.
what?
City life. He said city
Yeah,
life.
but let's define that a little better.
No, weekend
City
parents.
life creates more what?
Air pollution.
Environment,
Environment.
environmental problems, yeah.
More competitive life.
More competition.
Weekend parents.
Spouse abuse.
Spouse abuse.
Stress.
Stress.
That's
Yes,
it.
stress.
Boy, isn't that a heavy one? Huh?
Credit cards.
Oh, that's a biggie, isn't it? Right,
Child
credit
abuse. We have
cards.
child abuse.
Yeah.
High expectations.
Boy, that's,
Oh,
yes.
that's great.
You know that, it's
That's
amazing.
great.
that many
Tuition
ti-
centers.
Yeah, many times, many parents will take that as a key issue and concern because, especially the young adults, when they do their workshop, is the stress by parents to have them excel higher than they really care to, just for ego's sake. That's a lot of stress.
Theater,
Yeah.
cinemas. Old
Yeah.
folks home.
Old folks home.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Used communication.
Little families at one time, but now more.
If you can't get it on this one, you
Yeah.
can flip it over.
Yeah.
Enrichment classes.
And what's that?
Enrichment.
Music, dancing, dancing.
Okay.
Oh, activities. Okay, children activities and adult extra activities for mostly for children or adults?
Mostly for
Oh,
children.
yeah.
Let me ask you,
Children
about Malaysia.
activities. Yeah.
When I was a child, we did everything ourselves as children. We went to the park, we organized our own self, we played ball, we did everything. Now, the parents are organizing the children and taking them every place. Is that true here too?
Yes.
Okay. So you're glorified chauffeurs a lot of times,
Yes.
and the children don't do anything on their own.
Yes.
How much time do you spend in the car?
Pornography.
Yeah, pornography, yes.
Pornography.
Academic pressures.
Yeah,
Pressures.
we got that.
The Joneses attitude.
The Jones syndrome, yes.
Excellent. Violence, there's more violence in our society.
Greed and materialism.
Oh, good. Greed. Oh, materialism.
Size centers.
That's an ego problem.
Ego.
What about designer labels?
Yes.
We never had that as a kid. You were happy to get a pair of shoes and pants no matter what was on them.
Vandalism.
Vandalism, yeah.
And peer pressure.
I think we have peer pressure.
Exposure. Exposure.
Yes, peer pressure group.
Peer exposure.
Exposure.
Okay. What about incest? Very bad. Incest.
Yeah.
It is a bad issue. It was really
Poor role models.
War.
Oh, now that's a good
Oh,
one.
that's another good one.
Yeah.
Poor role models. Did you say parties? Parties. Not a party.
Parties.
Parties.
Heavy metal music.
Oh, that's another good one. Heavy metal music.
Music.
Rap.
Yeah, we can put that.
Huh?
Rap music, crazy music.
Very bad vibration. I think
you.
you've done fantastic.
Now,
Okay, now flip over your other chart.
yeah,
Can we take these on? How do you loosen these
we'll
things?
do that.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Just take a look at this. This one and the other sheet and this one. Just pause for a half a second or more and realize what you're dealing with today that grandparents didn't deal with. Wonder why you're stressed out? Just look at what's coming into your life that didn't come into grandparents' life. Sometimes grandparents would say, but why aren't my mother, for example, because I was the first generation raised with TV. Robert and I were the first generation to raise children with TV. And our parents couldn't understand what changes were, nor could we at the time. But life changed so drastically that it's almost, the outside influence is so overpowering that whatever you're working on or teaching in your own home is like a silent whisper compared to the stereophonics that is being played in society. We are brainstorming. We have to do something to stop the onslaught of outside influence to help our children. So we as a family are sitting down together and we're brainstorming on today what are our key issues. And then we're going to find solutions with Swami's quotes, because we give you Swami's quotes as well. So we're trying to find ways that we can strengthen the family unit, improve the lives of our children so Swami has them to use in his mission. Men and ladies,
just start sitting at the tables.
and don't necessarily sit with your friends and your buddies. Sit with people you don't know so you get to know them.
One man? Okay.
What does he say? Not
They teach them, yeah, okay. But how are they going to read them? Oh, they're supposed to be reading. Yes. Okay, let's start.
Parents, sisters and brothers. So what we have choose here is first peer influence, media exposure, boys-girls relationship,
Slowly.
communication breakdown in family, parents' expectation.
What's the second one? Last one.
Media exposure. During friends, my group has chosen 3 main key issues. The first one, discipline. Second one, stressful life. And the third one, high expectation on children's education. Thank you. The first one is the lack of positive communication. Lack of positive communication, number one. The second one is not enough quality time. Not enough quality time is the second one. The third is imposing parental desires or expectations on children. Third one is imposing parental desires or expectations on children. The fourth one is highly competitive and materialistic lifestyle. A highly competitive and materialistic lifestyle. And the fifth one is peer group influence. Peer group influence, dash or stroke, mass media exposure. The same one. So we have peer group influence, stroke, mass media exposure. Thank you.
Okay.
Sairam. The first one we have chosen is discipline. Second is high expectations. Third is on communications.
Great. Great answers. Great concerns.
First one is peer pressure. Second, communication gap. And third, decline in human values.
My humble plans at the lotus feet of Sri Bhagavan Sathya Baba. Well, our group chose the following 5. Family discipline, misplaced priorities, time management, generation gap, and degradation of moral values.
Sairam. Our group have chosen three. First is parents as poor role models. Second, high expectations from parents. Thirdly, peer pressure influence.
Go ahead next.
Sairam. Our group has highlighted 5 issues. Number 1 being high expectations of children. Number 2 is peer pressure of present day lifestyle. Number 3 is lack of communication. Number 4 is poor parental role models. And number 5, influence of modern media like TV, internet.
Sairam, our group has chosen 4 issues. First one, anger among parents and children. Second, communication. Communication. Third,
What's your second one?
communication.
Okay.
Third one is generation gap.
Okay.
Fourth one is lack of parental attention.
Okay, no time.
Sairam, our group discussed 5, but we brought it down to 4. The first one is ICT, Information Communication Technology, or you may call it media. Second, what other groups call highly competitive and materialist lifestyle, we have just put it as materialism. And keeping up with the Joneses comes under that. Then this question of from young blaming others, a child blames or the parent blames the chair that gave the trouble rather than telling the child what went wrong. So it's a question of lack of communication. So they put it under lack of communication. And the last one is time management.
Excellent. You've really got some very good issues here. And it's affecting all of us. So now you get to go have fun and have coffee and tea while we work. So when you come back, and Robert's going to tell you that in a minute, you're going to give them instructions, right?
Yeah, the coffee and tea break is right down this way and about 20 yards down the way. Now, when you come back, your key issues and concerns are going to be posted all around the room, okay? You're going to walk around the room. You got a 20-minute break, and you're going to stand in front of those. Whichever one, what's inside of you, prompts you that you want to further work on the rest of the day. You're going to work on solutions. You're going to select, because you can see how broad the category is. You're going to narrow that down, okay? And then you're going to come up with solutions for solving it, which we'll get into later. And tomorrow you'll make presentations on how you did solve it, how we can do it better, and how we don't know how to solve it maybe. But with Swami's teachings, your own God self, trust me, you all know how to solve them. Everyone does. It's just that we just haven't taken time to really stop and think about it. So go to your break. We're going to post them all around the room. Just come back, sit in front of a topic, choose it, break it into a group, work on it, make a presentation. So you can do this in 3 hours. You select one, you come up with solutions, you write it, and you make a presentation, a 3-hour day.
Sitting, you're supposed to be walking around and deciding which chart you want to work on. So you're just going to have to count.
Categories around the room. There's 2 on the left wall, 1 on the right wall, and 2 up front. And there's 2 on the left wall, 1 on the right wall. So just like walking around. Two up front, two on the left wall, one on the right wall. There's 5 categories that you've chosen. Up front and stand next to the one that you want to work on today.
Over here. You, Jen, you three.
Okay, this is what we're going to do during this exercise. As you know, there's many topics. The first thing you have is your key category. It's like your human values. And then you have sub-values underneath. So you've got outside influence, and you've got different sub-issues under outside influence. So you're all going to sit and talk. And you're going to take unity and diversity. You're going to all come perhaps with a different idea of what you want to talk about. But under that category, you can only talk about one of the issues today. You are going to formulate a question that says, Swami, how can I reduce television in my house? It has to be a very simple, clear question. Swami, how can I discipline my children with love? Swami, how can I reduce the fear of disciplining my child? Whatever it is, I'm just giving you examples. Whatever your category is, you as a group are going to sit and talk, and you're going to come up with one of the issues under the heading of discipline, no time, and then you're going to formulate a question. On the table that's just passing around is a sample, and it's got this on top. It's only a sample of questions that can be formulated. You can formulate any question you want, but it's got to be one question, not 2 or 3, not intellectual, very simple, very easy, because tomorrow you're going to get a stack of Swami's quotes. You're going to find 3 solutions to that question using Swami's quotes. Then you're going to role play, or you're going to do artwork, you're going to do poems, you're going to do whatever comes out from within. So if your question's simple and practical, you'll be able to do a good role play. Sometimes they do before, angry family before, and what they have, how do we reduce this anger? You find the solutions and you do a role play in a harmonious way that you communicate with each other. At one table, and on each table there will be placed one of these, and you are going to have to try to come up with a group consensus. The group consensus will be the majority rules, number 1. The second majority will be your second answer. So we'll ask you for the first and the second answer as a group. But right now, you just spend a few minutes, go through it, and mark for your own information what you think the correct answer will be.
Put one on each table. And this is a fun exercise because you're going to understand how consistent we are. There'll be possibly 2 answers. Let's say that you have 8 people in the group. So let's say 6 people think A is the right answer. So you call that X your majority answer. And if 2 people say, I think C is the right answer, that'll be your minority answer. Or okay? So they may be 4 and 4. So you say, okay, we got 2 majorities, 2 X's. So, and one person will just keep track. Okay, your memory keeper will just write down the answers. So you'll have 20 minutes to talk about your answers, circle them, and then the memory keepers will come sit up front here, because then I'm going to write down the answers from each group. So if you'll go sit at the tables, 8 in each table, there's 8 seats, so they should be around each table. So half ladies, half men, or however you can do it. Start talking, because you only got 20 minutes. You got to go through this pretty quick to come up with your answers. Okay? Any questions? Okay, good.
Generally, everybody is when they come on lecturing and nagging him or nagging
D against C. C and
Question number 1, majority is B and minority D. Majority is A, minority is C. Majority A. Oh, we've got 2 majorities actually.
That's okay.
A and D.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
it. Only 2 answers.
Yeah.
Majority C, minority D.
Question 1 unanimously 8, B. Unanimously.
Okay.
Question 2, majority D, minority A. Question 3, majority D, minority A. Question 4, majority A, minority C. Question 5, majority A, minority D. Question 6, majority C, minority is A.
Sairam, does that look consistent?
Confusing.
life is such.
Isn't that the truth? Huh? How different we all look at parenting. There's no consistency. The only one that has any consistency is Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Now we're going to have some fun, because I'm going to give you the right answer. You're lucky I didn't have a red pen on your paper.
No, I thought you said Baba says no right one to say.
He said that, I didn't say that. You want to ask the Home Minister? You'll get a different answer. Okay, now Robert, we got a black pen so that you can circle the right answer. Okay?
Yeah.
Your 4-year-old child is in the grocery store, begins to throw a tantrum because you won't buy a toy she saw when she walked in UD. Grab and leave immediately with no comment. And you did pretty good on that. You did pretty good on that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minorities. 5 minorities. No star. No gold star. But once in the car, you be. Say nothing and turn on the radio to listen to music. 3, your 6-year-old son whines that he doesn't want to set the table tonight. You, A, put the food you've cooked away and sit down and read the paper. You know, when I was a young girl, if I did something wrong, there were times I didn't eat dinner. I got sent to my room. Can any of you remember those days?
Yes.
We got a long way way away from that, haven't we? Which one are we on, number 4? When the children then asked you about dinner, you, B is the correct answer, say that the table was not set in time, so you are taking the knife off. Sounding good, guys? 5, you are in the car about to leave home to take your 11-year-old to her dance class. She's been dawdling about changing into her dance clothes. She gets upset when you tell her that you have to make a quick stop to pick up the dry cleaning on the way, and rudely accuses you of trying to make her late. You, number C. Get out of the car, go in the house without comment, and get on with the thing you have to do. 6, when you are back in the home, she storms in, continues her assault with how the teacher will be angry with her for not showing up to rehearse for the recital coming up in 2 months. You, A, go into the bathroom and get in a nice warm tub and relax. Amen, brother.
This is a tough Baba.
He is tough. Now, if you look over the answers of what we do, we talk a lot and take no action. All of these answers are actions. Are they listening to your words? Huh? Are they? Do you know what my kids would do? I'd talk. They'd press the mute button. Right? They'd stand them, rolling their eyes. There she goes again. Right? They're not listening to us. You see, there's so much multimedia. There's so much noise and sound that they're not paying any attention to us. If we take an action, it's going to make them start thinking. What does Swami do with us? He says, if you don't listen to my words, I won't talk to you. I've heard young stories, young boys, that Swami, or that are students, and Swami tells the students, I want you to be silent. I don't want you to make friends. You're not in school to have friends. And so those boys that are talking and making friends all the time, Swami doesn't talk to them. He walks by them. He ignores them. And when he walks by you and he don't look at you and you don't take your letter, and you're there every day. I mean, not just a week. You're there every day. And Swami comes up and takes her letter. And he'll talk to her. And he'll talk to him. And you're sitting there. I mean, I've been there. I've been there. This person got an interview. That one the next day got an interview. This one got an interview. And I was selling seats for this one. What do you think happens when that happens? Huh? Don't you reflect and think about, what did I do? What's Swami saying to all of us? What's he saying to all of us when he tells discourses on how he brushes his teeth and gives a discourse at Christmas on the different kinds of cars that he has? What is that saying? I've been talking to you for 60 years about the divinity within and what you need to do to reach it. And you're not listening, so I may as well talk about brushing my teeth and cars. He's changing. He's giving us actions. And to me, I know he's divine, I know he's in bliss and all this. But if I read it from a mother point of view, I would say if my child were hurting me and were not listening to me, which is what we all are, his children, I would take a letter that my child gave me and sit there and look at it because I don't want to look at my child because the child hurt me. I think Swami is giving us a very strong, loud message. Some years back in Vrindavan, Swami, we were there, and when Swami goes to Vrindavan in March, it's like manna from heaven for those boys, because they're in Swami's backyard in the morning, they're in his house, they're in his house every evening. He gives them so much darshan. It's not like Iprashanti. The students get to go in Swami's house. Well, Swami wasn't giving the boys darshan, and he wasn't inviting them in the house. So one of the professors says to Swami, "Oh, Swami, why? 2 boys did something wrong. Why are you punishing them all?" Swami said, 2 boys did something wrong, but the rest of them are learning not to do it. Doesn't that open an avenue of possibility? I thought about that. I thought, how wonderful. Now, how can we use that in our household? I don't know about you, but I had 4 kids. And they'd be in the other room, and the next thing you know, somebody'd be screaming or fighting. And then they'd come in and say, he did it, she did it, he did it, she did it. I mean, he and she, I mean, all of a sudden, I had to be a detective. I had to try and find out who was right, okay? Then I had to be the judge that sentenced the kid and the jury. And then when they're 40 years old, they're coming back and telling me, "You remember, Mom, when somebody pulled the chair over and stuck their hand in the cake, you punished me and it was really this kid?" Right? So I figured this. If my kids are fighting in the other room and they come in and they say this, punish them both. Both of you get this punishment, whatever it is that you decided. Both of you go do this. And the one that did it, all right, and the one that didn't do it is going to get pressure from the one that didn't do it not to do it again. It's going to be peer pressure in reverse. Because can you imagine what those 50 students or 80 students that weren't going in Swami's house did to the 2 that got him in trouble? Huh? You can never figure out which kid did what when they're fighting and arguing and you're not there and didn't see it. Unless you're Swami. I didn't have that kind of vision. I tried to let my kids think I did.
How about the cigarette?
Oh, Swami. One boy came in, Swami said, he said, "You've been smoking." "Oh, no, Swami, I'm not smoking." "You've been smoking." "No, Swami, no, Swami." Swami goes like this, materializes a picture of the boy out in the village smoking a cigarette and hands it to him and says, "You've been smoking." Now, if we had that power, just think what we could do with it. Wouldn't it be wonderful? My daughter, especially the youngest one, she knew I was a little psychic and also a little crazy. But somehow or another, Swami would always, one way or the other, let me know when my kids got in trouble if they didn't. So the youngest one was never quite sure if Swami was telling me inside what was going on or not. You got to try to keep them always in suspicion. We can't let all our secrets out. But it's so important for you to give your children an action. If your child doesn't do a job that you've asked them to do, and they expect you to take them to dancing or soccer or whatever on Saturday, you sit down and read the newspaper or ignore it. And then when they're ready, they'll come and say to you, "Why aren't you taking me to soccer practice, Dad?" Just like Swami, when we're finally ready to ask inside, why are you ignoring me, Lord? Then they may be ready to listen. But they're not ready to listen when you're dumping verbiage on them. We're spoiling our children so bad it's pathetic. Swami says they're out of control. Spoiling, spoiling, spoiling. And I'm not going to talk anymore, but I'll talk more about this tonight. But think about it. Be creative. Be creative as a center. Some night at Study Circle, just have a brainstorming session on how you can show your kids actions instead of giving them words when they're doing something you don't want them to do. That's what this exercise is all about. And that's what they're trying to get across in America today. Because the children, through permissiveness in the last 50 years, have lost discipline and lost their way, they're not listening to the parents. They're trying to get people to start thinking, what kind of an action can I do that will allow my child to think about what he or she has done? Good idea?
Yes. Huh? Yeah. Swami, one time, go ahead. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. But then if you don't communicate with them, suppose, I'll give you an example. Your child comes back at home, say 12 midnight. You don't say anything to him on the first day. Second day, he does the same thing. Third day, he does the same thing. You are sitting in a corner and reading a paper happily. And he'll think to himself, well, my parents don't bother about me. Next time he'll start coming at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wait a minute. Most of the kids know when they leave the house that they're supposed to be home at 12 o'clock. These are situations that you've already communicated to your kids. In other words, if I say to my child, now look, I want you to be home at 12 midnight, okay? And the child knows that that's the deadline. I've already explained it. How many times have you explained to your kids to pick up their room? How many times have you told them to empty the garbage? How many times have you told them to turn off the TV and the homework? Huh? How many times? Many times. By the time they're teenagers, they ought to know the house rules. And we're going to cover these house rules in that contract. And that's a great question you brought up. Because first we have to explain. But we don't have to explain 395 times. Or 352 times a year. Every day we keep explaining and it ain't working. They must. And this is where we got in trouble in America. It was so big in the last 30, 40 years. You must communicate with your child. You must explain so they understand. So everything became explain, explain, explain. Everybody explained, but nobody disciplined. Nobody went back to check the consequences of what they were doing. And the children simply aren't listening, but it is first love to explain, just like you said. Then, wait till you see the lovely tool we got if the child, after you explain, doesn't come back. You're going to get that a little bit tonight, but we're going to have that exercise tomorrow.
Let me just say one thing. Swami went to Madras, and they did certain things in Madras and took Swami several different places. They never asked Swami if he wanted to go there, to this place, this place, this place. Swami did not go back in 3 years to Madras. So the man in charge in the house one night was almost in tears pleading with Swami. Swami, we were wrong, Swami, not to ask if you wanted to go there. We thought we could tell you and do what we wanted to do. Please forgive us, Swami. Please forgive us. Come back to Madras, Swami. Do you see what action he did? He didn't say, no, I'm not going to this function, or I'm not going to this function. He just sat back. They didn't ask, but they took him. And he let them do that. But then what did he do? He gave them a strong action and did not go back for 3 years until they finally figured out why. Why is Swami giving me this action? Then the light bulb went off. Oh, I took Swami for granted. That's what we're trying to say with this. Our children are taking us for granted. So it's time to give some action. And when they're ready to come to you and say, oh, Swami, please, what did we do wrong? Swami, please forgive us. Then they're ready to listen. There are so many stories we could tell you about Swami has given actions to people. So many. And you read many of them. But it is amazing how he does this. He'll just let us stumble and fall until we say, oh, now I understand, Swami, your action. Now I understand. So,
I think we better leave.
Brother ready? Oh, here he comes. He's got a couple logistical things to say real quick. And we got
one thing.
Oh, it's open seating tonight. There's no, it's a public meeting, so you can sit next to your spouse and say, yes, darling, guys, to her.
Oh, there's one thing I would like to say, and that is, I want to see every one of your faces tomorrow.
Yes. You got to come up with solutions. And
you have made this commitment. Thought, word, deed. If you don't come back, then your group is going to be missing a vital part. Everybody come tomorrow. There's a lot of information that will be given tomorrow. Okay? Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. They will come.
Here enough